Remember, the IPv6 address is 128 bits in length, and it's represented with hexadecimal. By default, the mask is 64 bits, and we use prefix notation in order to represent it. Here's an example of an IPv6 address and mask. Notice this address, even with the use of hexadecimal for the presentation of the address, it's still a bit cumbersome. As a result, there are two modifications that are permitted with an IPv6 address for representation. The first is the most powerful, since we'll often end up with several consecutive fields of zeros inside an IPv6 address. Notice we have that right in the middle of our address and mask example. So once within an address, and only once, you can represent this entire section of zeros with a double colon. This really is a valuable feature because we often have IPv6 addresses that are padded with many sections of zeros. So now our optimized address presentation looks like this. And, this really is, as we can see, a great optimization of how we represent the address. But remember now, the rules here are very strict. All of the bits in the section must be zeros. And if you're going to do this, of course, representing multiple sections, they must be right next to each other. And then, as we said, finally, you can only do this once in the address. The second shortcut trick for the representation of an IPv6 address is that we can trim off any leading zeros from each and every field in the IPv6 address. So trimming off all those leading zeros, we now have the following IPv6 address. Notice we have used both of the shortcuts in how we can present the address, and it is a little bit easier to deal with. Now, when it comes to moving the world to IPv6, I think it's important that we have a gradual and slow transition. In fact, that's exactly how it's being done. Think about it. We can't shut down the internet for the weekend as we make this transition. Fortunately, modern computer nodes support what is termed dual stack configurations. This means that the device can run IPv4 simultaneously with IPv6. As a matter of fact, I bet every device you have that you've ever accessed this course with at this point is dual stack and is running IPv6 right alongside IPv4.